All right, welcome, kings and queens. Listen, we have very, very important updates to cover on the Shanquella Robinson case. Very, very important updates. But before I jump in, let me say this. I feel good about the commentary that I've brought to you because I have not misled you in any way. And that has been confirmed today by Chronicle Speaks. So she posted a video, an updated video close to an hour ago. Feel free to go to her page and listen to her commentary. But just about everything that we covered over here from, just the 5 things you need to know. The 5 things you need to know video, she has substantiated and confirmed that. Now, there's a couple of things that I was not aware of. Neither were you or anyone else that she did cover on her page. And I'm going to go over those things. But before I do, for those of you who are just tuning in, or if you're new to the channel, welcome to the palace. I'm Queen Sheba. I cover a variety of hot topics specific to reality television, but most importantly, I hone in on the psychological and the behavioral traits of the Black experience. Okay, so before I jump in, I want to give you 2 updates about those of you who tune in regarding other commentary on my page. I have a assessment coming up from members only regarding the trauma bond between Ariane and Martel Holt. That's going to be for members only. So if you want access to that, it's just $3.99 to join the page. Feel free to do so for that assessment. The second thing is I do have my Love and Marriage Huntsville review coming up. I'm going to try to have that posted no later than tomorrow. Okay. But I'm really trying to utilize my time well to keep up with the Shanquella Robinson case so that we can make sure we continue that momentum and that energy behind that on the behalf of her and her family. All right. First update. There has been a new video that has submerged. I hope I'm saying that right. That have come, but no one has access. Well, I'm not going to say no one has access to that. The Mexican authorities have access to that, and probably the Cabo Six. They now have their hands on the video. So either that video came from the Cabo Six or that video came from hidden cameras in the villa. I don't know which one, but there's only 2 places that it could have come from. Okay. So there is a video, and one thing we do know is a fact. Let's cover the facts. First thing we do know, there's a new video. That's one fact. The second thing we do know as a fact is Dejanay did put her hands on Shanquella Robinson. Sit back, because this is about to get really deep and disturbing. And if you feel like you are easily triggered, I want to issue viewer discretion. I'm not going to show anything. But if this is just like too sensitive, I encourage you to log off. Okay. So when we think about the original video of Dejanay fighting Shanquella, some of you felt like Dejanay in that moment was responsible for Shanquella's death. I think you're correct. For those of you that have felt that way, someone in my comments, they outlined it. And you said in that moment you saw where Dejanay literally snapped Shanquella's neck. And when Shanquella was sitting on the floor, slumped over, in that moment, one of my subscribers said they felt like in that moment, that's when her neck was broken and her spine was cracked. I think you're correct, because according to the Mexican authorities, there was a second video, y'all. Okay. And guess who the person was in the video? Dejanay. So all of that hoopla about Winter, the second video is Winter beating her up and grabbing her by the neck and slamming her to the floor. That has not been substantiated. What they did substantiate is in the second video, it was Dejanay hitting Shanquella. Someone ran from the back room after hearing the beating. So you had to really be hitting this girl hard. Someone came from the back room after hearing the impact of the blows and screaming. So at some point, I'm going to imagine that the screaming came from the pain that Shanquella had to have been in. With Dejanay possibly breaking her neck and cracking her spine. This is very heavy for me to cover. Like, this is a lot. And you were still trying to hit on her. So the screams were so piercing that someone came running from the back room and tried to intervene to get Dejanay to stop hitting her. And I am going to assume that the screaming was from the pain. Wow. So my first thing is, how strong is this girl? How strong are you as a woman? I covered that in my first video, and I'm going to be extremely passionate because I feel like I took a lot of shit from some of y'all, when I tried to cover this, and I almost backed away from it because it's something that I wouldn't normally cover. And I wasn't really sure what to do with the energy that was coming towards me because some of you're new to my page, right? And I was like, you know what? I don't know if it's worth the heat because in my first video, I kept saying, this girl had to be hella strong. I don't know women that fight that hard to break another woman's neck. So my question is, how freaking strong is this woman? Number one, that you can break another woman's neck with your bare freaking hands. That is extremely disturbing. Okay. That's the first thing. What happened is, according to the Mexican authorities, after Dejanay, after whoever the lady is, they did not specify who intervened. We don't know if it's Winter. We don't know if it's the other young lady. But after the young lady or whoever intervened, Shanquella then went into convulsions. Seizure, that's like, if convulsions is the shaking, the uncontrollable, just the physiological reaction in the bedroom. The Mexican authorities have that on camera. Okay. Now, if Shanquella went into convulsions in the bedroom, my question is, who moved her to the living room? She could not have gotten up and walked to the bathroom like y'all were saying, and then Winter touched her. No, once you go into convulsions with the brain and all of that, who moved her to the living room? That's my first question. And I really hope they're able to capture that on video or get that response, because based on that answer, you become an accomplice to a crime when you moved her body. So we know that according to the medical examiner's report, it's probably 99.9% true that she did pass between 15 minutes at the most after the fight. Now, if that's true, and it's probably true, right? If she went into convulsions and they can see that, she probably did pass 15 minutes like the medical examiner said. I'm going to skip around a little bit. So that means we should question everything Nazir said. So now we know he was not being forthcoming when he said he walked in there and rubbed her head. No, sir. She was gone. She was no longer with us by the time you got there. And not only was she no longer with us, she was no longer with us when the doctor got there. I've already covered that. I've already said that before. No, I don't think she was with us. And the 2 to 3 hours that they spent in that villa was corroborating a story in exchange for monetary, goods. Now, they should have never been able to leave that country. But money is the root of all evil, and they were allowed to leave. Okay? So they should have never been able to leave. So now they are looking into the doctor's story, as well as whatever law enforcement person was there during that time. Okay. Now let's cover the reason. So you remember I said in my last video, I said, what's that girl's name? Dejanay. You might want to let Mexico know, clear that up before they capture you, that you're not a man, because they have you listed as a man. The Chronicle Speaks confirmed that on her page when I told y'all that. She said she's indeed listed as a man in Mexico. Now, here's why. I didn't have access to why. I just thought maybe based on her physical, stature. According to the maid, they saw Dejanay taking her wig off and on, and women there, I'm not trying to be funny. Women there don't have problems most women in Mexico having to wear wigs. So they don't see things like that. So they assumed because she was taking, there go my dogs, because she was taking her wigs off and on, that she had to have been a male. And that's where the transgender assignment profile was created for her. Okay. My other call out is to the Cabo Six. If Dejanay, which is probably more than likely, is the one that took her life. And if one of you did intervene and it was not the guys, it was one of the women. Actually, we don't know if it was one of the women. It could have been a maid. Who knows who intervened? But there was a lot of screaming. So a woman intervened. I question now, because if it were Winter or the other young lady, Alyssa or Elisa, then why would they be hiding if they actually broke up the fight? So there's a possibility that the woman that intervened could have been a groundskeeper or someone assigned to that villa. We don't know yet. That's just speculation on my part, because it doesn't make sense for you to be on the run if you were actually one of the ones to break up the fight. So I'm going to be looking to see and hear more about who broke the fight up. Now, if it happened to be you, Alyssa, and or you, Winter, you need to come forward immediately. Because if you broke it up, there's no reason for you to be in hiding unless there's more to this story. Okay? Man, so we do know that Shanquella passed that morning. Anything other than that is a lie. Anything other than that is a fake news. But we've been saying that all along, that we suspected that on this page. All of that 3 p.m., 6 p.m. No, that morning, which tells me they delayed getting her medical attention. They were in that house. So, this is so disturbing, because you remember Nazir said, yeah, and they were talking about cooking, and I was just rubbing her head and playing music. So the whole time you're playing with this girl's corpse. This is sick. Let me move on, because I want to make sure I handle this well. This is very disturbing. Shanquella's money was missing. They believe anywhere between $6,000 to $17,000. Now, the Chronicle Speaks did say that they would have to go and speak with the customs agents in Mexico to see how much she declared. That's true. But I want to add one more thing. I was an international flight attendant for over 12 years. And the way customs works is you can declare what you want. Anything over $10,000, you would be subjected to taxes. So even if they did go back to the customs and see how much Shanquella declared, that doesn't necessarily mean that's the exact amount that she brought through the country. I just wanted to put that out there. Okay. Now, Dejanay, you will be going to prison over in Mexico. And you know what? I told y'all to be very afraid. That's where you're going to be. And men and women are in the prison. Dejanay. All you can do is pray for yourself right now, because, ma'am, it's not going to be good for you either way. The last thing is they're saying that they are waiting or in the process of getting all of the documentation together so that they can issue a red file for Dejanay so that she can be properly apprehended and brought back to Mexico. He said that it takes about 15 days and they expect to make an announcement next week. I'm going to pause there. I'm going to say that I believe they may already have it. And they could be saying 15 days to make the Cabo Six feel like they got extra time to run, well, when they could actually apprehend them today. So that's the only thing, because I know law enforcement is not going to give us everything. Who are we? I wouldn't give you everything, but I feel like they already got it. It's in the works. It's ready to go. And they're probably going to pick them up any day now. I don't think it's going to be 15 days. That's the only thing. And I could be wrong, and I'm not above reproach. Other than that, that's all I have for you today. This is very sad, but you know what? Keep praying. So with that being said, I hope this gives you a little bit of relief on this beautiful Sunday. Keep praying, and hopefully all of this comes to an end very soon. Thank you.